Round one. Fight!
No sparrow, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
Dean Cain, American heartthrob, Superman to millions. He's patriotic, smart, kind, and very generous. Maybe too generous. He's recently made friends with Gabe El-Taib, co-creator of the amazing new comic, Truth, Justice, American Way. Dean has put his full-throated support behind this book. Or has he? Okay, this is the last thing, and I will get you the heck out of here. Do you think people should buy right now? Should they click the link and buy Truth, Justice, American Way? And why is it the greatest comic book ever? Why do you think that?
Well, they should buy it for sure, without a doubt. Right now, click it, go. I'm going to do it after this is over. So if I did it now, I think weird things would happen. And they should do it because Gabe is a big man and he physically threatened me. If I didn't say this,
That's right.
that he was going to choke me out and teach me what truth, justice, and the American way is all about. So I can't wait to see it. I love it that it's counterculture, and it's counterculture just being patriotic and standing for all the things that I stand for. I can't wait.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So what's the truth about Gabe El-Taib? Madman, artist, poet, gentle lover? It doesn't matter. Buy the book or Dean Cain gets it. Wednesday, June 29th. The month is over already, guys. Crazy. You have no idea how late I'm running today. Me and Sean will get to that. Tonight, Nighthawks tonight. Ooh, you guys are going to love this. Nobody's seen this movie. I didn't even know it existed until like 2 years ago, and it is fantastic. What's this little? Oh, it's my microphone peeking in the picture there. Anyway, he is here, the man, the myth, the legend, my brother from another mother, Shantan Jetty. How you doing, friend?
I'm doing great. It's great to see all of you fine people here. This movie I had not seen before yesterday, and I'm giving it my full recommendation that you check it out for one of the most interesting films I think I've seen. It is classic 70s in some ways, even though it came out in 1981, and it has this kind of grittiness that it's reflected in this almost time capsule quality. And interestingly, I think it bookends, even though it's many years and one sequel after, bookends nicely with the first Rocky movie in terms of the picture of New York, or the picture of Philadelphia that we got painted in Rocky. You know, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think you're right about the bookend thing. I love that dirty griminess. It seems like everything filmed in the mid 70s and 80s. I remember watching they'd wheel in the big TV. Well, when I was real little, they would bring the projector in. You know what I mean? Put the film rolls on it, and you'd watch something in elementary school, and I felt like everything filmed in the 70s and early 80s was filmed on an overcast, filthy, smog-filled day in New York City. Everyone looked uncomfortable, like they didn't have enough money. The ground was covered in soot and filth, and it just had that look. And the 2019 Joker movie captured that feel again of this gritty, grimy 70s New York. And, you know, you and I were just babies, just toddlers, but you hear that America had a lot of turmoil, unemployment, inflation, all this real malaise, a real ugliness to the culture, a brutality in these big cities. New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Detroit were as deadly as ever back then. And this movie captures a lot of that, and I really love it. And it's great to see Lando Calrissian being a really, he's Billy D. He's Billy Badass in this. So it was a lot of fun.
He's great. He's a great actor. He's, you've got Brian's Song. You've got all the great things he's in. There's a reason why he was, tapped on the shoulder to kind of come into the Star Wars franchise, one of the biggest franchises of all time, with the sequel.
Right. Who
can we have on screen that's got that star power, who can hang with these people who have now become household names? And of course, you need someone with that kind of gravitas, like a Liam Neeson when they did the Phantom Menace. You're trying to bring someone who's got whatever that quality is. And I'll tell you, he pairs incredibly well with Sly Stallone.
It makes me wish they had a few together, like Lethal Weapon has Danny Glover and Mel Gibson together. It makes me wish there were a few with Lando and Rocky here. I think they are great.
Yeah, they're both how do I word this? They're both explosive characters in different ways. You know, Billy D. Williams' character is kind of coming from the heart and the sort of sickness he feels about the cycle of crime and what criminals have done to his city, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I think Sylvester Stallone is in this, Sly's character is very much, he's hot-headed, but he's also, because of his history, because of his past, he's a little bit reluctant. He goes full tilted crime, but he's not going to go full tilted killing. Billy D, on the other hand, if you push him and if you try to make him take a bribe,
no, ain't gonna
it is
happen.
not going to work.
Ain't gonna happen. Yeah, absolutely. I was looking. I found this movie on Amazon Prime. Because I had watched Rocky and all that, and I was just looking for more Stallone. And I saw Nighthawks. I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then it was like, "Oh, it's got Billy D in it." You know, so that it was funny when I saw it was Billy D and him in it. I was like, "Oh, that sold me on it." Yeah. So let's bring it up here and go over it really quick. So share screen, share.
And I have to add one more thing because I don't want the chat to, to just descend. All right, a brilliant way to start too, by the way. Brilliant way to start.
The Nighthawks.
Nighthawks, that famous painting by Hopper. Yeah.
We both have art degrees, and this is my student loans talking. Would you like to talk to us about Nighthawks at all, Professor?
Well, I would tell you this. This painting has a kind of that sort of color noir grit to it. And what's interesting to me is I've talked about any great film, in my opinion, has to have three solid actors at least in it. And this one has a third actor in it, which is Rutger Hauer, also at the height of his youthful power at this point. And, God rest him. He's just a brilliant actor. He carries the movie in such a way that you look at Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams and you go, they could be in trouble. That's not an easy thing to pull off.
Yeah. So Rutger Hauer is the terrorist known as Wolfgar. We'll move off the painting Nighthawks. We'll move off that real quick. And not that Nighthawk, this Nighthawks.
That's
it's on Amazon Prime for $3.99 or whatever. And it's about an hour and a half, hour 45. It's really good. And you want to do the synopsis or you want me to go over it really quick?
You do it, man.
Okay. So you got Rutger Hauer. He's a European, I believe a German terrorist who goes by Wolfgar. And first the movie opens up with something great. It opens up with this woman walking down the street in that grimy, filthy New York City. But you notice that face is real weird on her. And these three street punks, they go to mug her. And all of a sudden she just whacked one with her purse and knocks the other two out. And it's Stallone. He rips off the face. And him and Billy D, whose name is Matthew Fox in this, right? He's Matthew Fox. And then Stallone is Deke De Silva. So they made him have a nice Italian last name. They're undercover. He says he's the decoy squad or whatever. So they go out there and basically pull a Charles Bronson and tempt street punks into getting their asses kicked by the cops. So
lots of courage.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's lots of courage there. And here's the thing: this is already, which I didn't realize until you just now brought it up. This is that's right. Nightmare Fuel is definitely there. Yeah, it looks a little bit more like a skin suit than a person, I'll tell you. But it's Sylvester Stallone is a tough guy who would not put this is perfect for him, would not want to put an innocent civilian in danger, but does not care how much danger he puts himself in.
Right.
That's sort of his weakness. Whereas Billy D. Williams is the kind of guy who's going to hang back and, help his partner take care of business. But when it comes to who's going to be, sticking their neck out with three thugs coming at him with God knows what weapons, on their person,
right.
He's no problem putting himself at risk. None.
Right.
None.
And you're going to see that theme in this where he is really concerned about the public and he doesn't want to get anyone hurt. But like you said, Sean, he's not worried about himself. He's very brave with himself, but very conscientious of getting anyone else hurt. And that will come back to us later in the story. Yeah. But first of all, let's just take a look. How could you not want to watch this movie just looking at that?
Can we talk about
just style, dude? Just suave.
What Superman, if you're going to mess with Superman, I have a thought. There he is. All right, Billy D as Superman. That was the first thing that just her face is plastic. That's Angela. Yeah, that is a mask that Stallone puts on and an outfit he puts on to lure people to try to mug him. And when I look at Billy D. Williams wearing that Superman t-shirt, which is of course, the Superman from the movie that just came out, almost like a Donner nod at that point. It's just, look at these guys, man. It's they need to put, I was going to say they don't make them like they used to. They don't put them on screen like they used to. They still make them. It's a little harder to find. Yeah, so based.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, so what I see just oozing off these two here is they've seen some crap. They're gritty, they're brave, they've been beaten up, shot at, stabbed, arrested, probably the worst kind of people on earth. And so we're introduced to them right away with this undercover thing. Stallone's got the mask. And then we have a little character moment where he's talking to Irene. So Deke and Irene are kind of like, they're estranged, husband and wife. And she's like, nah, leave me alone. And he's like, come on, baby, I still love you. And I remember there was a line where she says, like, why didn't you ever act this way when we were married? I'm paraphrasing. And he's like, because I never imagined what life would be like without you. So right away there, they're able to establish a deep history with these two with just like a brief, like minute and a half scene. So, and then again, that'll come back. This is a great movie, guys. Never heard of it. I never heard of it until 2 years ago. It must have just flopped like hell. So then we're introduced to this bastard with his beard and his, and this is Rutger Hauer, believe it or not. Wolfgar, the terrorist, the international terrorist. He hates like the bourgeoisie and the colonialists and the wealthy and all that. He's just I think he's just like an overgrown hippie or something like that. And of course, he's at some drug-fueled party and he's got a guitar slung on his back, right? And the one thing I didn't show you here is that he blew up a building in London. I'm sorry, I didn't get a screenshot of this. Movie's very hard to find screenshots of. He blew up a building in London, called the news and like, I'm Wolfgar and I'm going to keep blowing stuff up because you guys are all rich bastards. Go ahead, Sean. What?
Please let me say, so this is the thing about this guy, particularly in this role, but at that time, he goes up to a counter to talk to a young gal who is working behind the counter.
Oh,
she's young.
Right.
He's pretty. He's very flirty with her. He talks to her and he says, "You look pretty," and he's just this like very non-threatening, sweet presentation he does as he kicks something, an explosive device underneath.
Right.
The counter where she's at, and then he blows her up. And the thing that you start seeing about him is, and you take a look at him, guys. Do you know any guys who look about like this in this day and age?
Right.
We had it figured in the late 70s and early 80s. The guy who sort of seems like he's the soft, conscientious beatnik, talks to the ladies and sweetly at the party with his guitar. And what's underneath that is, of course, this total psychopath.
Yes.
And that's what you're dealing with.
Like literal zero empathy. Because
zero empathy.
The building he blew up in London, this guy's a messenger from the international terrorist organization he works with. I didn't catch this guy's name. But he tells him, hey, I'm going to give you some money and some paperwork. But, they're not happy with, he comes to give him a message about blowing up the building. And Rutger Hauer, he gets real suspicious of this guy. So before he does what this guy says, he, let's go out in the hallway and pulls a freaking Uzi out of the back of the guitar or whatever and guns the guy down in cold blood just because he's suspicious that this guy's setting him up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And just shoots him on the stairway. The police come running up this, so then he makes a break for it. So before that, he was in the party playing his guitar, being, like you said, Sean, a narcissistic, manipulative, and we know these guys, the male feminist, nice guy. He's a little too good to be true, and he's a completely detached psychopath who has zero empathy for anyone. And if you could you got a friend here, he's your friend, he's in the crime organization with you, and 2 seconds later, you just gun his ass down because you're like, I think you might be up to something.
And they play upon both him and his partner, played by the gone before her time, honestly, died very young. I think it's Persis Kabata, who was in Star Trek The Motion Picture. She was an Indian actress who was in there, in this movie. And they both play upon, at various points, how to mask themselves in society to seem non-threatening, even though they are. And it kind of exposes, like, where do they tend to place them? There she is. They tend to place themselves in social settings with people who are very free, very open. In a lot of ways, they prey upon the kind of Western decadent openness of the time. That's how they are able to move through society. Because people who are too naive, who are too protected, not the people working the street, like Stallone and Billy D. That's not where he hides out. Yeah.
So, Wolfgar, what a great name, by the way. So he knows that the mafia, like the mafia terrorists, whatever he works for, they're after him now because it's bad press for them that his bombing in London killed kids. So he knows his own crime people are after him and setting him up. That's why he shot the guy. And I didn't get a picture of the cops came up the stairs and the main cop superintendent, the British guy, he'll factor into this later. But anyway, this dude's so crazy. He goes to go get plastic surgery from this guy so he can look different. So basically they remove the beard and comb his hair different and stuff like that.
Give him a nose job and give him blue contacts. Basically, they did the fugitive thing with Harrison Ford. They started him not looking like himself, and then they had his face changed to look like the actor.
Yeah, that's actually really smart dealing with just thinking as artists, that's a really, really smart way to deal with the limitations of special effects and non-existent CGI is to have him start off normal and then flip him to, or have him start off different, then go just back to Rutger Hauer. It kind of reminds me of like Face Off, where the special effect is they switch faces and it's like, we could just have the actor play the other guy playing him. You don't have to actually give him a fake face of John Travolta or whatever. It's kind of funny that it kind of lends itself to that. it seems semi-related in my mind, where he had facial surgery, but it's just his own face, like just like Face Off.
And you've had some pretty serious backers on Truth, Justice, American Way. I've had some pretty serious backers on Nosferatu the Crypt Walker. So I'm going to say this. Some of you guys, if we have any plastic surgeons who are currently watching, do not do work for people like this. They will find you later, as sadly happens to this plastic surgeon.
Right.
You just don't want to get into that line of work, people. Some tips from your Uncle Gabe and Uncle Shanth here.
Yeah.
Watch who you work for.
I feel like the odds of me giving a terrorist plastic surgery would be not 0, but a number approaching 0.
That's I'm with you 100 or almost close to 0% with you.
Not 100, but a number approaching
100. That's right.
It's got a Ellie Munoz. So this was a 70s movie. It's got a 70s grimy feel, but it was released in 81. I have no idea when it was filmed. Shantz, you said there were some production issues with it.
Yeah, it was going to be the second sequel to the French Connection, and Gene Hackman, the project fell apart, and so then they turned it into this flick, but it was going to be about the same kind of plot. And the thing about this movie is, and what people forget about decades sometimes, I mean, I know you guys probably know what I mean, but the changes don't happen all at once. So you get, a band like Nirvana will come out and the music scene changes in a couple of years, or in maybe 7 months, maybe 9 months, everything changes. And then you have a band like Def Leppard release their new album and people are like, what are you doing here? This movie's critical reception, I'm convinced, was affected by the fact that when it came out, it was just not the trend. It was after Rocky. It was after Star Wars. It was after Rocky 2. I'm sorry. It was after Rocky 2.
It's really grim and gritty. And we turned the corner with Rocky and Star Wars to positive, uplifting. The whole thing going into 80s, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's like adventure with like such positivity. Still rock'em sock'em, but positive. And this is adventure, and this is ugly, this movie. It's brutal.
Gray morality in certain realms, and we were done with gray morality.
It didn't fit in the zeitgeist. Wow, that's brilliant. I was wondering if it was the Iranian hostage thing and like real terrorism and the Weather Underground, the domestic terrorists we had in the 70s. I wonder if that kind of turned people off from this too. Like, more of like reality, basically. So
I think it was just that. Yes, is that Persis Kabata? Yes, it is. It is. I was just saying before, and hail Henry Bemis. A tremendous actress. We know her from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and it was just a shame that we lost her so young. My God,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what she passed away from, but it was she was a model. And let me see here. She passed away. I'm trying to think of what age she was. She was 49 years old. Yeah, 49 years old.
That's sad.
Yeah. So she was. Yeah. And I think it was. Well, here's the thing, guys. And I hate to. She was a chain smoker. And of course that led to many heart attack issues, and but just an amazing actress, and what a great face.
Yeah, she's got that real like statuesque like model beauty. You know what I mean? Where they look like they're like beyond pretty, like they're made of porcelain almost. Like what I mean? Like fragile beauty like that in a good way. Grim Jim has a comment I think is insightful. Was it trying to follow the genre of Dirty Harry? I think so. And that was out of vogue. That wasn't in fashion with, again, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. All the positivity of Rocky was just such a positive, fun adventure. You know what I mean? So, and this is ugly, this movie, but I like it. You know what I mean?
And here's another funny thing I just realized. This movie, I think, it can't be the exact same year, but I do have to check. I think it was 1 year before, but let me just check. Yeah, it was 1 year before in terms of its release, but this was 1 year before Rutger Hauer was in Blade Runner, another gray morality film that was noir and that didn't find an audience at the time, not worth its budget. Became a classic, but at the time, the studios didn't know what to do with it, probably because they were seeing this kind of gray morality fade out, Right.
So after he gets the plastic surgery, Rutger Hauer, Billy D and Rocky find out they're being assigned to a new anti-terrorist attack for it's like called ATAC. It's anti-terrorist action something. I don't know. It's an anti-terrorism force, and it's international, and it's headed up by the British cop that was going up the stairs to arrest this guy. That's who's heading it up. So then they have to go to the let's see, let me get where it was. So then they're in this classroom, and that's the British cop there. Sorry, I didn't have a photo of him earlier. Guys, I put this movie on my iPad and took pictures with my phone because Googling, you find like the same 15 pictures. My poor daughter sent me a bunch of pictures, and she did her best, but it just wasn't enough of what we needed. So I actually re-rented this movie, watched it this afternoon. That's how much I love you guys. That's how far I'll go for you. So anyway, this British guy, he's a hard ass, and he hates that he already failed to catch Wolfgang. He's been after him for a while, and he hates that what he did in London, and now he's here in New York to do it again. And he's teaching Stallone, and it's not just Stallone and Billy D. It's there's like 20 cops on this task force, but Stallone is really against this. It's all a bunch of egghead stuff, and why do we need to know all this, and blah blah blah. And so he has a lot of conflict with this guy who's teaching them the anti-terrorism thing. And then we just get a shot. We get some shots of Wolfgang walking around New York, and we get a shot of this the Roosevelt Island Skytram thing. That's going to come in.
Lord,
later.
yes.
Yeah. That's coming later. Let's see. This Nighthawks is one of my favorite paintings. Yeah.
There you go.
We'll have to talk about that. Hold on real quick. We'll have to talk about this someday, like in a serious way. Why this painting is so evocative. I don't know what it is, but it seems simple, but my goodness, it grabs you, that painting. You know, we'll go into that. That's a whole other discussion. So anyway, you get a little foreshadowing here. Now Wolfgang with his new face, right? The beard's gone. He looks different, new haircut, and the Skytram and all that. He's checking out the UN because some stuff's going to go on with the UN.
What a shot. Can we go back to that shot? Guys, comics are not cinema, and cinema is not comics. However, there's stuff we can learn from each. That is a beautiful perspective composition shot anywhere, any day of the week.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's it is. I rewound this one to get this one. It went by and I didn't snap a photo, so I'm like, oh, I got to get that one. Oh, JLA says that the Nighthawks is his favorite painting of all time.
Nice.
PAJ Production. I have to check this movie out. You do. It's worth your time. It's fun. It's like Dirty Harry, I would say. It's like a gritty cop movie. So anyway, so he's going around town trying to figure out what his terrorism stuff is next. Because again, he hates the rich and he talks about colonialism and the bourgeois, and he's the voice of the voiceless. Someone here in the chat had a great quote. They quoted him, and I went past it. Sorry about that. It was good, though. I wonder if I can find it. I'm just scrolling. Oh, here it is. No. Said, I represent the oppressed, the powerless of the world. I am their voice. I am a liberator. So Sean was saying earlier, it has that great morality where this psycho who just kills women and children and all that thinks he's a liberator. He sees himself as the good guy. Now, that I do feel like culturally right now, 2022, Joe Biden, and I'm not picking on you if you're a Democrat. I still want you to buy my books. I still like it. But I think what America and the West are going through, we have the grittiness, the griminess, the rising crime, the economy not doing good, people not doing good with jobs and money and all that. And I was only a baby at the time. I was born in 78. But this is what I heard about the mid to late 70s. That in the West, specifically America, there was the same malaise we're having now. People on edge. We had just pulled out of Vietnam. We just pulled out of Afghanistan. The economy was bad. The president was like impeached, sort of like Nixon. He resigned or whatever. But it was like a similar thing. And then we got this nice old grandpa for president who was just an ineffectual pussycat. And it's like history repeating itself right now.
It is history repeating itself, and this is the whole thing, right? When you see this kind of character now, as in what it must have been in 81, but a little further, we were so sick of who are these revolutionaries? These revolutionaries think they are morally superior to all in society, so they don't value life. They don't value the social order. And this is the thing. Out of this, it was always a sort of a bottom up as opposed to top down thing, because the people that were in power during this time did not believe in, and they ran on the principle that they did not believe in the institutions which they were trying to lead. And when you say you don't believe, when you run for, I want to get into the comic book industry. Why? Because it's filled with bigots. Like it's the same thing. So this
Right.
person is living and enjoying himself almost exclusively in the freedoms of the colonial Western world. Let's be clear. He's not freedom fighting somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
what you don't see him doing is getting up at 5 a.m., a shit shower, shave, driving to some office job 40, 50 hours a week and paying the price to be a Westerner. He's like you said, he's enjoying all the abundance, all the excess, and all he has, like every narcissist and leftist, is to complain about it, complain about the corporations and the rich. It's like, dude, you've got a nice trench coat and cigarettes and beautiful women and beer.
He
and
likes the finer things.
He does like the finer things. They remark that about him when they're going over him in the terrorist unit. So again, he's a deep character, this guy, deeply flawed and deeply psychopathic, So they were showing his old look with the beard. They're back in the terrorism school class where
sorry. Do you wonder if they were trying to make him look like Freud? I swear I couldn't get past that, man. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I didn't see it, but now I can't not see it. Oh. Yeah. And someone said earlier in the comments, I gotta find it because it was a movie I need to watch that I've never seen. David Shaber. No. Let's just go. David Shaber wrote this, and the Warriors helped make the McTiernan movies. McTiernan movies. Okay, right. John McTiernan. Okay, right, didn't know that. Thank you. I've got to see the Warriors because I've seen the artwork. Warriors, come out and play. I've heard that.
That's right.
And some gang of warriors in their vests and all that has to get home from the Bronx or to the Bronx, and they're going to get beat up by other gangs. I'm like, that's what the movie's about. But apparently it must have made a cultural impact because people like it. I've never seen it. It sounds crazy, but it looks like peak grimy 70s. So I think I'll like it because I love Dirty Harry, even though that's San Francisco. But you know what I mean? Grimy, metropolitan. And I love this, Nighthawks. So I think Warriors, I'm going to have to check it out. Maybe we'll review it. Right. So, okay. So Rutger Hauer, he meets a lady at the disco. Because remember his MO. When they're teaching about him at the terrorism school, he meets women so he can have somewhere to stay and hide in the cities where he blows shit up. And he meets this lady. And I remember she's a stewardess and her name is Pam. And she makes some like sex joke about, I'm Pam, come and ride me or ride with me or whatever their slogan was for the airline. And, he's a narcissist sociopath. So he's able to charm her and shine her on. And when she tells him she's a stewardess, she then asks him, well, what do you do? And he's like, I'm an international terrorist wanted by like 7 governments. He tells her the absolute truth. And she just starts laughing because, of course, it's a ridiculous answer.
Well, but here's the other point of it, though. There've just been a very high-profile attack.
Right.
So this is not that he's not in the news, but this is what it is. He is making him. He finds the safest place for him to be is people with squeaky clean records who have are utterly naive about the world, and he has such disdain for their lack of social awareness. Funny enough, the thing that he claimed he prides himself on or whatever, that he knows he could say I'm a serial killer and they won't believe it because they have been so untouched by this grittiness. Right. It's dark.
Yeah, it really is. That people were, because I didn't say, sorry guys, he blew up a building in New York and he called the New York Times and said, I'm Wolfgar and you are all bastard rich colonialists, whatever, his usual spiel. And he's like, and I'm going to hit the financial district or something next. Print that. It's the old days where you go to a payphone and then just tell on yourself and not get caught.
Yeah. Before CSI.
Right. I'm going to interrupt everything for 30 seconds here. DC Comics dropped from SDCC. Warner Brothers pulled everything. Well, I will say this to you CG fans and CG brothers and sisters, Sean, Ethan, and the crew. Thank you for taking me in. Thank you for buying Truth, Justice, American Way. The link is in the description. Please go buy it right now. We're over 1,000 backers. Let's get more. Nosfero's in the description. I don't have to worry about DC Comics. Sean doesn't have to worry about them either. I feel sorry for them. I have friends there. They're not all SJWs, but the leadership, garbage. And thank you guys watching me right now for giving me money so I can do this for a living, and I don't have to worry that DC Comics is like going out of business or whatever. Thank you. I jumped out of a burning building, DC Comics, just in time, and you guys caught me. God caught me. You caught me. Couldn't be more happy to be here. I love doing this. Thank you. That's sad that DC won't be. That's pathetic. You know?
And it's not that life can't have grittiness in it, and our stories can't have grittiness in it, and all the complexities. But one thing you should definitely know about CG Comics, I've been thinking about this after watching this movie all day. Our comics are life positive.
Yes,
they're life positive. We could say life affirming. We could say aspirational. But the thing I want to make sure I talk about is that they're life positive. If you are trying to live a life, you will get a story that helps you to think about it in a healthy way as opposed to an unhealthy way. Right. Does that mean that the world will be perfect? No, but the end is not to leave you thinking, what is the point? That's not what we're shooting for. You know, with most of our works here, we're trying to say, yeah, life is hard. Difficult things happen, whether it's Cyberfrog, Truth, Justice, Nosfero the Cryptwalker, all of this stuff. But this is life positive stuff. Yep. And the thing about a movie like this is that is interesting, and it doesn't mean that we can't watch and enjoy it. While it is positive, the good guys win. There's this saturation point of gray morality that really, once you hit it, it's you're just so desperate for anything. And I think Star Wars came at that point. Rocky came at that point. That's what makes it great. You know?
Right. Let me just, since we're on a little break right now, we'll get back to this.
Sure.
What I think is a spectacular movie. You guys did this for me. Do you know what that is? That is right behind me in my garage. That is 2,600 of those cardboard mailers your CG Comics come in. That is 5 feet tall in my garage. I blacked out my address on there in case anyone zooms in. But yeah, you guys did that for me. You know, that weighs 800 pounds. It cost me a couple, I don't know how many thousands of dollars that was. That is a ton of mailers. So all those is where your Truth Justice books are going to go. So, and this right here, the trading cards, guys, you know, I don't need to worry about DC Comics. All I need to do is feel sorry for them. That's all I need to do is like, hey, dude, that sucks. But David Williams finished Bass Reeves 5, and he's back to Tron, Truth, Justice. Pages are underway.
I love that panel. That panel, all those every time he gives every character their moment in it, and he captures them so well, man.
Right,
it's beautiful.
And for those of you out there that don't know what's up with Truth, Justice, America Way, there's not a lot of pages. I don't blame you for asking that question. David Williams, I'll say as much as I can. Family crisis, an illness, and they're still dealing with it, but it's going really well. The latest stuff, I can't go into detail, but it put him behind. And you guys got to understand, this is real life ran into making comic books. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy what David and his family had to go through. So if you're the praying type, pray for her name's Sandra. It's David's wife and David himself and their family. But they're on the road to getting past this thing. But it was just a heartbreaking situation right when we were getting going on the art on this book. And it took him out, understandably, for a month. That's his childhood sweetheart of 33 years. I've been married for 26. Sean for like what, 15, 20?
I've got 22 wives. Sorry. I keep forgetting.
Like the Russian nesting doll.
Exactly. And that's why I've locked myself in this room.
Right.
But the thing is, I have to say this too. When you look at these pencils, first of all, Dave is so fast and so masterful with the penciling. And when I see him, and I think Gary said it best when we were closing out the first 30 days, I think it was, he said, it is one of the great honors and privileges of his life to go to work and work with David Williams, David Brohawk Williams, King David. His inks, if you don't know Gary Martin's inks, he's a master at inking books. And so you've got Gabe, Dave, Gary. This book's going to be spectacular, guys. Right. Absolutely spectacular.
Yeah. So Dave just finally, because he was going to wrap up Bass Reeves like in February, guys. And then we were going to get rolling on Truth, Justice. And then his wife had, her sickness and stuff. And so we finally finished Bass Reeves like 3 days ago.
Right on.
It put us way behind.
Yeah.
And he's jamming on it now, though. And we talked on the phone today for like an hour, and he's just so excited. So, real life, it runs into people. And Dave, he's heroic to me, what he went through and how he stood tall for his family. And
my gosh.
So he's back at it, whipping butt. And I will be showing pages. I will be showing pencils. I will be showing inks. I will be coloring live. I'll be recording coloring. You're going to get so much Truth, Justice, American Way. It's going to be so good. And you guys are going to see me post so much. You're going to be, Gabe, stop. It's too good. It's too much. It's like when you're being tickled or something, you know? And you just can't take it because it's too good.
We've got to, and when I promised we're going to get back to this movie, but I got to tell you guys, I feel like we need to just do something to celebrate this book and to push this book going into 4th of July weekend, because that is what we celebrate. We celebrate that Declaration of Independence.
Right.
Comicsgate is, if nothing else, a declaration of independence. You guys are with us in that declaration of supporting independent artists. And I cannot think of a better time to really get the word out about this fantastic book. Right. A great book.
And just so you know, a little sneaky peeky, and I'm actually using Zipatone, guys. Like, it's a clear film with tones on it that you put on your comic book page after you draw it. I want to use those in Beef Law. So here's the latest page of Beef Law, standing over his defeated enemy. And that tone on there is a sticker that I put on, and then I actually sanded it with a drywall sander to get that texture. So I'm going all out here. Let me grab the board. I'll show you real quick.
Hold on a second, guys.
Hold on. We'll get back to the movie.
This right here, folks, this is the only Beef Law that really matters.
Hold on. I can't see you.
Never forget. Snap into a Slim Jim. Beef Law.
Oh, you sent me that great Beef Law logo. But yeah, see, so here's the board.
Man, Zipatone,
so
guys.
This is real Zipatone, and I just got a pack of like 20 sheets in the mail like an hour ago. My wife brought it to me. But this texture here, where I faded it, you could see the clearness of the sticker here. I went over it with a sanding block, like a drywall sanding block. I actually have it right here. Hold on. You got to use everything when you work, guys. I use this drywall sanding block to fade out the Zipatone there. You know what I mean? That's awesome. So, and then scan it in the computer. So that's Beef Law. That's what's coming next after Truth, Justice. Go get Truth, Justice. I'm going to be showing, so happy. Finally going to be showing pages very, very soon. Very soon.
Quote Timmy Mello right there real quick, if I may.
Where is he? Oh, yeah.
Right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Snapping to
Green rises to the top.
Oh, yeah. Snapping to a Slim Jim. That's right.
How would Randy Macho Man Savage sound if he was Mexican?
Ooh, yeah. No, that doesn't work. That didn't work at all. I can't.
I don't know how to say snap into, so.
That's right.
Can't wait for you to make a comic based on 50s sci-fi and 80s action with Snipes, JCVD, Dolph, Seagal, and Sly. Yeah, what do you think Beef Law is? Beef Law is my love letter to 80s, 90s action.
It's going to be great.
It's illegal underground fights in Hong Kong, Chinese and Russian mafia. And Hunch the Dirty Roofer asked earlier if Sergey is Russian mafia, where are his tattoos? I'm doing pinups too for this. Sergey's the big bad. Let me show him real quick, and then we'll get back to the movie, I promise. Sergey's the big bad. And I thought about the tattoos, and thanks for pointing that out, buddy. I don't know Russian tattoos. I need to research them. I'm not going to draw random stuff, and then it's like, oh, this isn't what they do. So I did think about that. I might make the tattoos, like draw them once, and then use Photoshop to like stick them on so they're consistent. Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that, but I know Freddie Williams III, when he was doing digital drawing, in his book he wrote about how to digitally color comics, he made the Superman symbol, the Wonder Woman symbol, all that in his computer, and he would glue it on and then distort it in Photoshop for perspective. So I might experiment doing his tattoos on a computer and give him some righteous tattoos. In fact, one of my best buddies is a tattoo artist. Maybe I could get him to draw it so they have that aesthetic of a real tattoo.
I love the Zipatone, dude.
Yeah,
I'm loving that.
Yeah, you got to order some, dude. It's wild to use it. Okay, back to the movie. Where were we, folks? So he meets Pam Beasley. She's a secretary at a paper company in New York. Wait, no, that's the wrong show. He meets Pam. He's staying at her place, this bastard Wolfgar. And this dude, he has a trunk of grenades. He has guns. He has a whole arsenal, and he just hides it in her closet. He's an unhinged, crazy person. So think about what you're doing here. You're hiding total illegal weapons for all his terrorism, and he just puts it in her closet like she's not going to find it. It's not his house. He doesn't really hide it. The trunk isn't locked. So, of course, there he is. Yeah, he's going to just shove it in her closet in her apartment. Oh, and then he does blow up a building. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So he does blow up a New York building, but not a huge one. And you know,
just a hello, just a wake up call.
Look at his face there, though, watching the explosion.
Mm-hmm. He always is close by.
But he's like, oh, like he really likes this. Like, woo.
He likes his work. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, let's see. I always love some good perspective. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good shot. Yeah, it is a good shot. You're right. Let's see. So anyway, he calls it in the newspaper. You're all a bunch of capitalist pigs, blah, blah, blah. Print it in the paper. I'm Wolfgar. Hear me roar. Anyway, what do we cut to next? What is the next scene? Oh, then we're back with what is her name in this movie? I want to call her Sabata, and that's not it.
It's something
Shaka.
Yes.
Shaka, that's her name. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, by the way, I wish I could have answered the phone when he called. You know, that went in because I would have been like, change the fucking record. Click and hung up.
Oh, shoot. So they're back in class studying Wolfgar again with the terrorist task force. It's not class, but it's where they meet all the cops that are on this special anti-terrorist task force. And he's telling, now this is an important scene because the British boss of this anti-terrorism unit, he's telling Stallone, and they're going back and forth arguing, if you get into a situation where you could take Wolfgar out, you're going to have to do it regardless of the crowd and the civilians. And I won't do it. You know, Stallone's like, no way, I can't do that. I can't endanger innocence. And they're going back and forth and back and forth. And it comes to a head where the chief, he insults him about, well, you know, don't give me that cop shit. This is like more military. You know, you want to be this cop guy. That's why your wife left you. Because remember, his wife, Irene, left him. And Stallone's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. And
because he's researched everybody. And he goes, the terrorist will have researched you too.
Right.
He's going to know what makes you tick.
Yeah.
And that's, and I will tell you, that is, and you really get the sense, the actor who's instructing him, they do bond, you know, throughout the course of this after going through all that. But that's an essential thing. Yeah, I didn't join the police force to kill people is what he says. I mean, this guy says, everything you've learned about being a policeman is not going to help you with somebody like this.
Right.
Somebody like this doesn't care. And this is the interesting thing. There's a social commentary on the softness by which and the bureaucracy by which they've been trained, which is quite interesting when you think about it again, contextually for today.
Right.
Like what they're being told to do, what they're being told not to do. And these guys have been selected out of that for that very reason, because he looked at their profiles and said, these guys have the kind of experience that I need. They're not like everybody else.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's great. And of course, his brother comes to talk to him and it's like, you know, and says, hey, you know, it's, you know, brothers in terms of law enforcement, and says to him, look, man, I know you don't like that, but let's come back, man. Let's do this.
Yeah. He ends up telling them they need you. Basically, you're the best. You're the only one that can really do this.
Yep.
You know, Stallone's just like, no, I'm not going to endanger civilians. So we cut back to Pam, the stewardess. And she finds Ruger Hauer's cache.
One more thing. Okay, I already warned plastic surgeons. Ladies, if you've been with a guy for a little bit and you find a large case stuffed somewhere that he has not told you about,
don't open it.
Get out of there. Call the cops. Do not open it and hang out there. Right. They will find you. Not alive.
Yeah, please.
Just don't do it, ladies.
What does Chief Wiggum tell Bart and Ralph when they find his gun? Why did you go into my forbidden closet of mystery?
That's right.
You know, like curiosity killed the steward. Yeah,
she sees that box. It's marked male feminist, so she innocently opens it. And that's what it is.
Maybe she thought it was Christmas presents and she wanted to peek.
Exactly. Well, it was.
Wow. She got a peek of the New York City skyline when he throws her out the. Does he throw out the window? No, he takes her over to the window and I think he stabs her, right?
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah,
they got close to the window. I thought he was going to throw her out the window because he takes her over to the window. He's like,
I did too.
Yeah, and then I think he stabs her. That's right. Right. I like this comment here by no. I would have watched a series of movies with these two. These two. I love the chemistry and how they played off each other. Yeah, Billy D is really good. He's the cheerleader. He's the older brother. He's like the not
calls
Jimmy
you on your
Cricket,
shit,
But yeah, he's just like he's your bro. He's what you want when the shit goes down. You want a guy like this. He's with you thick and thin, and that's really played up in this. And these two are excellent at that. You know. So anyway, she finds Rutger Hauer's weapons, and he gets rid of her.
The police find her later.
She's begging for her life, and he's like, you know, no thanks. So where do we go from there? So then they go back to the disco because they know that he likes to find ladies at nightclubs.
Where else are you going to find a psychopathic killer than at the disco? I mean, it's obvious.
By the way, how many of us get just sick of hearing a young, pretty woman that's dating a psychopath who doesn't have a job? Because if you think about it, Wolfgar doesn't have a job. He just manipulates women into letting them live there, and he robs and steals or whatever because he's a terrorist. So not only is he a psychopath and an evil killer, he's also just lazy, which irritates me as a man.
Well, you know what's so funny about it though is he wears this is another little dark commentary. He wears the garb of status because the women he goes after respond to status over work ethic. Right. He doesn't look like he has a job, but he looks like he has money and status.
Right.
That's all it takes. He's preying on them for that reason. Yeah, exactly.
George Alvarez, don't make me do this to you. Jeez.
Everybody smash that like, guys. Let's make it happen. We got 52 people watching.
PAJ Production, I must go, sadly, but keep up the great work. Hey, thanks for coming in. And guys, right now, like Shanther said, smash the like, make sure you're subscribed and all that, and make sure you check out Nosferatu and Sweet Justice American Way. Thank you. Okay, so I'm glad we're diving deep in this one. I took a ton of photos. Again, I was watching while I was drawing some truth. I was drawing some beef law stuff.
Right on,
yeah. So anyway, they go back to the disco because this is where they know they can find him because they know he needs a new woman to shack up with.
That's right.
And it's a great scene. I do love like disco scenes in crime movies, nightclubs. I guess we call it a nightclub now. The pulsing always builds attention. The changing lights are disorienting, the reds, the blues, all that, you know, the neon strobe lights. I always like that in movies. I think those are really fun scenes. This one has a great one. And one thing I didn't get a photo of is when they're in that anti-terrorism task force meeting room class, one thing Stallone has been doing is drawing pictures of what Wolfgar the terrorist looks like. And all they have is the photo of him with the beard because they don't know what he looks like after the plastic surgery. And they only think he had plastic surgery because a plastic surgeon was murdered in Paris or whatever, and it had some little connection to all that crime stuff. So when they're in here and they're looking around the club, he sees this guy. Again, like you said, Sean, he's unemployed and all that, but he loves the finer things in life. He hates Western culture and the bourgeois and the colonialists and the capitalists, but here's this motherfucker with what looks like a silk scarf, a turtleneck, and undoubtedly an expensive sport coat. So it's always fun to hear leftists say, especially my former employer, Warner Brothers, DC Comics, a lot of people there are like, capitalism sucks. And I'm like, you work for one of the biggest companies in the history of the world. Clearly you like capitalism.
Well,
Speak on that resentment of someone who takes all the benefits but then resents it. Speak on that, please.
Well, it's a really simple thing. I mean, I was listening to Peterson and another gentleman who were talking about this kind of thing. It says, where do you typically hear most of these conversations happen about privilege and the inequities? And you find most of them happening in the high social status circles. And so what's interesting to me is that this person he loves the finer things, and he can claim that he's mocking it, that he's a satire of it, that he doesn't care. But the thing that's interesting to me about a lot of these people is that what they really hate is this aspect of themselves. And that's really what I think it is. He wages war on his inability for certain things, his inability, frankly, to fit into the social order, even though, because he doesn't know what he does there other than exist. So it's pointless to him. Like, he hasn't ever challenged himself in life. That's the interesting thing. He challenges himself playing cat and mouse with these institutions, but his objective is, he doesn't even really have a political objective other than to win the favor of evil people. But he's not strong. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not particularly strong. And they have some kind of ideological compass, because when he realizes he's accidentally, killed some kids in his act of terrorism, what ends up happening is he realizes that he has to make sure the press see later on in the movie that he's not going to do that, not because he doesn't care or because he actually cares, but because he his status, what he wants to see himself seen as, which is so dark.
Wow, that's super insightful. Yes, the narcissist is the most, the least confident person. You would think a narcissist would be arrogant. That's an outward fake construct. The narcissist sees themselves as a golden god, the greatest thing in the universe, but it's really a cover for how inadequate they really feel. And I think Henry Bambus and you, Shanth, you're really touching on, he is the spoiled child of Western success. And he feels guilty because he has a silk scarf and a, $80 turtleneck or whatever was a lot of money back then, and he didn't earn it. His grandpas did in World War II, and his great grandpas, and going back and back and back. And here he is just taking drugs and going to discos and blowing things up. And he is a failure compared to the men and women of his past. And I think that it gnaws at him, the self-loathing.
He was born on third base and he can't steal home. That's his problem.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Let's see real quick. Hey guys, just so you know, this is a knockoff of the book movie The Day of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Let's see. Cranberry Langers is here. Howdy, CG Chat. Good evening, Gabe Shanth. Hope the stream is going on. The stream is going great. We love this movie. It's a hidden gem. It's a really good movie. Angela, just hitting the nail on the head. Sounds like SJW today, but without the silk scarf. Yes. Whenever I see a white liberal SJW say white people are trash, I'm a little confused because I'm like, you're white, so you're calling yourself trash, which every human loves themselves. I mean, come on, at least to some degree. And it is, excuse me, it is self-loathing to have all this abundance that we have and to go as far as this kind of movie to be a terrorist against it. It's totally insane. But
here's my best bit of advice for anyone. Whenever a white person comes up to you and tells you all white people are evil, know that it's not true, but know that they definitely are. Because anyone who would say that is got to be talking about themselves. Yeah, luxury for ale, Alex.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Stallone drew that picture of him with the beard from way back in the anti-terrorist task force class. Let me see if I can find that picture really quick. Do I have that photo? Well, we know what he looked like at the beginning. He looked like this, and Stallone drew him on a sheet of paper that way. And then he realizes at the disco, now I got to hunt down the disco again. Good job, Gabe. So he realizes that, could this be him? And he realizes it's him. He looks back at him across the dance floor. Stallone is like, it's him. So then they chase him through like an old construction warehouse, which is just right in my wheelhouse. I mean, if you're talking about Van Damme, Seagal, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, everything has to be at destroyed factories or down.
Gotta have the welding sparks coming down. Come on, man.
I'm convinced that the places that Van Damme gets in fights in, those factories, they don't make anything besides smoke and fire. Yeah. Like
they make fight scenes in those factories, okay?
Yeah, the husband who works at that, he gets up, kisses his wife goodbye, says, "All right, honey, I'm off to the steam factory," and it just steam comes out of a pipe every 15 seconds.
That's right, man.
So they chase him into a factory, and then they chase him into the subway, and you can see Stallone real tiny in the background there. You see him just to the left of this. You don't see my yellow shirt reflecting in this because the lighting. I was taking pictures on my iPad. I could not find pictures on Google. And Rutger Hauer, he takes a hostage here, an old lady. And remember, Stallone was arguing with the chief. I'm not going to endanger the public. Here we are, New York City subway, thousands of people milling about, going in every direction. Billy D and Stallone have hunted down Rutger Hauer. They got him now. They got Wolfgang, the man that kills, the man nobody can catch, the man nobody knows what his damn face looks like. They've got him. They've got him because of Stallone's brilliant police work. And Billy D's like, I don't got the shot. And then Stallone is like, I don't got it. But then Stallone has the shot. When you're watching the movie, he has a clear shot. Nobody's in the way yet or anything. And he falters because of that principle where he argued with the chief, I'm not going to endanger the public. And he doesn't like that there are people in the subway and they're milling around. And can he shoot past the old lady and hit the guy? So he doesn't take the shot. And that's not good, I mean, that's a hard shot, right? I mean, I own guns. That's not a great shot. Yeah, I wouldn't want to shoot at that either if I was the cop,
And it's not like he's moving in a steady direction. Like, it's not like you can lead it and hope it works out, that her head's not going to be moving at a different speed.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
Real Sean Crumble comments on the factory that they were chasing Ruger Hauer through. He's picturing a conveyor belt with various knife fights and karate chops. Yeah, just about right.
Yep.
And let's see. Holy crap. No. Says some of the people almost died in this movie, like in real life. They did the stunts on the fly and on location, and Sly wanted to do his own. I'll have to see I'm going to have to get this on Blu-ray. I like this one. I think I'm going to buy this one instead of just rented it.
Yeah, Shout Factory has a good release. I looked it up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to get it on Blu-ray and see the behind the scenes. So anyway, he doesn't take the shot. That's no good. Billy D's like, take the shot. He doesn't take it. And they end up chasing him. And right here is the moment Ruger Hauer, look at the evil in his eyes, by the way. What a great actor.
Yeah.
Billy D comes around the corner because they're chasing him all over the subway. And he just opened his face up. Just slashed him across the face. And so Billy D goes down. Stallone runs up. Good thing it didn't get him in the neck because that would have been the end of him, you know. It went
and you point that out. They said you had good reflexes. You dipped your head when he hit you, so it didn't hit your jugular.
Oh,
yeah.
Mighty Geek is saying this, and he might know. I don't know his background if he's a cop. Unless you have a sniper setup, no copper soldiers taking that shot. Okay, I wouldn't take it either. You know, and I'm just a hobbyist, you know. So
I bow to your wisdom on that, Mighty Geek Studios.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't know. I would have no real life idea. So, so anyway, Ruger Hauer got away. That was a really exciting subway scene. Billy D just goes to the hospital, gets some stitches. But when he's on the stretcher and Stallone comes up to him, he said, "You should have taken the shot."
Yeah,
he's not mad at him, but he's a big brother there. Like, hey man, he's holding his brother to a standard. And I don't know, it's a movie. You know, Mighty Geek is saying you don't take that shot, but for the purpose of the movie, I think they want us to imagine that the shot was possible. And let's not go into the real life logistics of is that a good shot or not for police? Probably not. It looks crazy to me. But in the movie world, that was acceptable according to the story, I guess. You know what I mean? So we'll just suspend disbelief and believe that that was a makeable shot that he not chickened out of, but he had apprehension of it.
I think what Billy D was saying really was, I could have made that shot. There's always that guy, man. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's see. Yeah, tell that to Al Pacino in Heat.
That's right.
What a good man. We should review that one too. Jeez.
I love that movie.
So the next thing that happens, Ruger Hauer gets away. Stallone and Billy D are on the mend from their loss in the subway. And there's a gala at the United Nations, all kinds of international dignitaries and all that. And of course, the anti-terrorism task force knows Wolfgar's in town. So Lando Calrissian and Rocky Balboa are going to be there guarding it.
That's right.
With some other people. And the chief is going to be there too. And guess what happens?
Yeah.
Chief's going up the escalator. He's on the walkie talking to Rocky Balboa. And guess who's back? Yep. And she gives him one right. I don't have a photo of it. Boom.
Oh, yes.
She
right
just taps him. Yeah.
But let's take a look at her. This is where you see why these two work together. Look at how she's dressed. She is dressed in all of the makings of that. The status that gets you overlooked when you're in these situations. That's what's so incredible. She walks in there. She looks like she's totally fits in.
Yes.
And she's just a cold-blooded killer waltzing through.
Right. And that's a thing when they're the anti-terrorism task force class that the chief is telling everyone that she is maybe even more of a sawed-off psycho than Wolfgang. That he says something about her just killing, like not randomly, but like quickly and with like no remorse. That she'll just just drop people. She's known for it, and she does it here to him. It's prophetic. You know, he's coming up the stairs. You can see he's smiling. They were joking about something on the walkie-talkies.
Oh,
Stallone.
They were squashing their beef.
Oh,
he
that's
was saying,
right.
Dude, I'm going to take you out for Chinese. Sorry for all the attention. Respect what you do. That's what makes it heartbreaking.
Right, because they have a connection. Oh, and he says, Stallone's like, who's going to pay when we go out? And it's like age before beauty or whatever. So they have that chumminess camaraderie where they're teasing each other. And then the next thing you know, he eats one in the forehead from this crazy bitch. So so things go wild. But what it really is it's a distraction, right? Because Ruger Hauer, Wolfgar, it's like the French ambassador, someone, right? He kidnaps, and we get back to that sky tramway thing.
You knew it was
going
to
happen. And he takes
happen.
them on there. So he takes it all hostage, and he's on this thing with this French lady, and he's there with, what's her name? Shaka. So she's there with the MAC-10 or the Uzi, I can't tell.
I think it was an Uzi.
Right.
Not sure though. Could have been back then.
So now Wolfgar's giving his demands. I want a bus to the airport. I want a plane to I don't know where, and money and blah blah blah. He wants that typical movie terrorist thing, you know. And I always wonder how they think the plane's gonna like go where they want or anything. Has that ever worked? I don't think so.
I don't know. He even said 12 alpacas. It was weird. Sorry, go ahead.
12 brown alpacas. That's right. Henry Bemis. Those German terrorist groups from the 70s were full of bourgeois, upper middle class types too. It makes sense. It really makes sense. Again, you see like the 2020 peaceful protests, you know, and then you find out, arrested, and it's like some kid going to Bryn Mawr or one of those really expensive schools or whatever. These are kids of nothing but privilege, you know.
Yeah, the Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge were all they were upper class kids who were educated about the wonders of Marxism in French universities.
Right. And
they came home and that's what they did. Hence the French name, Khmer Rouge. Like people don't think that this stuff, it's poison of the, it's the poison decadence of the leisure class is what you're seeing.
Right. Yeah, it is funny to me how that 70s malaise and the left wing, you know, attacks on society and all. It's like we're doing it again. Yep. Literally, after being in the quagmire of Vietnam, the quagmire of Afghanistan, it's like, and the old, like I said earlier, that old failure of a President Carter, the old friendly grandpa weakling, and now we have old friendly mountain bike enthusiast Biden.
Yep, that's right.
That video of him going off the bike summed up his presidency. A bunch of dorks cheering him as he comes along, and then he just eats shit.
Did you see that some weirdo made a video about that for Ethan Van Sciver? Sickens me when I see that.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I hope he sleeps at night.
Right. Yeah. I hope he sleeps very comfortable.
That's right.
Okay. So Rutger Hauer has his demands. He wants an alpaca that'll take him to Timbuktu and a bunch of. He wants money, but he doesn't want cash. He wants Chuck E. Cheese tokens. It's very weird.
That's right. Skee ball fan.
So what? But to his ego again, where he has to like be this again, that spoiled kid of Western success. He's so concerned with his image. There's a baby on the tram, and he doesn't want the baby getting hurt. Because last time when he blew up the department store or whatever in London, he blew up, some kids were killed, and that was bad press for him. Yes. Like he could give a shit about the kids, but the fact that it made him look bad, that's what bothered. It's what you ever meet a crazy person, and it's a joke I always tell with my brother. Oh man, that was so hard for me when that happened to you. You know, those kind of people where it's like,
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and this is the thing about the narcissist, this type of character. He can't make life. He can't make kids. He can't appreciate their value because to him, he is death affirming, for lack of a better way. He's not life affirming. He's death affirming. And yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's where I left, you know. And I think you're right. That is a Mac, not a Uzi. But it's the thing about it is that when you look at these people, you know, you look at absolutely, it's this is the thing about it. And my friend, by the way, one of our dear friends, my wife's best friend since kindergarten, so they've been friends since then. Is her husband grew up where I grew up, and he's one of the many refugees from the Cambodian refugees from the Khmer Rouge. So I take particular, and that was a huge thing that was going on in Chattanooga. We took a lot of refugees in, and I just it's one of those things that when people think about this, it is a moral relativism. And on my stream the other night, someone was talking about. I think it was Scottsley and I were talking about the balance between me enjoying reading C.S. Lewis and Ayn Rand, and what I like about, you know, what I enjoy about both of them, though they bring different things to the table. And the thing I would say is they were both anti-subjectivism, and they viewed things that C.S. Lewis had a beautiful thing on the poison of subjectivism, that it's all a myth because it's built on objectivity at some point. It's ridiculous, like subjective to what? But I think that it really is. If you pin these people to the wall, what they really do is they really believe in death and they despise life. It's that simple.
They
hate
life.
Innocence. Yeah.
They resent life because they don't know how to live it.
They can't make it happen.
Right.
And you got a super chat. Hail.
Punch the Dirty Roofer for $5. Thank you very much. Very generous. Gabe, Vietnam was a little different, so this week's book recommend will be A Bright and Shining Lie by Neil Sheehan. Great book on the entire conflict. I will screenshot that. Hold on. I always take a screenshot of a comment I want to remember.
And I love that we get book recommendations.
Right. And he's the one that recommended Starship Troopers to me. This should be required reading for especially boys, but all kids growing up. I'll send you one back, Hunch the Dirty Roofer. The Best and the Brightest. That's a book basically telling you how the political arm in Vietnam was just getting everything wrong for political reasons. The Best and the Brightest. It's a short read, but it's pretty fascinating, that book. Just showing you how the civilian leadership was just like, oh, everything's going great, and they kept just screwing that up. So The Best and the Brightest, I'll recommend one back to you.
Right on.
Yeah, that's a good book. So anyway, he wants to make a show of saving this baby. So he wants the anti-terrorism task force to send Stallone in on like a zip line and take this baby away, whatever. You still have to meet my demands. You got to give me the airplane to, I don't know. If I was going to get an airplane paid for, I would want to go somewhere cool at least,
Yeah.
But so I just thought that was a cool shot. This just summed up like, look at that, just how grimy New York looks there.
I know.
You just feel the crime just looking at the color palette. It just
you
looks
can smell the movie. Absolutely can. And you know what's so funny too? I never even thought about this is all of these groups who contract him out because he isn't doing this for his own particular belief system. He is still a little kid in that sense, seeking their approval. They're angry at him because he hurt innocents. So now he's still chasing status with this group of people. It's hilarious that he can't get past that.
Right. Yeah. And it's all narcissism bordering on sociopathy, where he's built in his mind, he's a great golden god and he needs validation-seeking behavior to get people to see it. I'm above the colonies and the corporations and the millionaires, so much so that he blows up buildings to fight. He's a voice for the voiceless. He's a savior. I mean, think about this. He's killing innocent people who are going about their day shopping and this and that because he is a voice for the voiceless and a savior. It's just narcissism to like a satanic level, and we're seeing again today of people committing great evils in the name of social justice.
Well, this is the thing, right?
Same sort of thing.
He never lets actually getting to know any of the people he meets. He never gets to know anyone outside of political abstraction. So these people are the institutions they work at. They don't have families to support. So once he's done destroying all of society, who exactly is he rescuing? There's nobody left when he's done. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And he really just hates people. He's I guess he's pro roaches. I think that's who he's trying to help.
Right. A little spoiler. I'm going to say spoiler for Stranger Things season 4. Spoiler. Okay, spoiler. I said it 3 times, 4 times. This doesn't spoil the plot necessarily, but the main villain in Stranger Things 4, spoiler, his whole philosophy, spoiler, is SJW philosophy. He goes on a rant in episode 7 of Stranger Things 4, spoiler if you're listening, and his rant is Tom Taylor. Just all our favorites from DC Comics, just Marvel Comics to the SJWs. It's literally their worldview, that they're above it all. Everyone else is a nuisance and in the way, and everything's wrong, and the world is wrong, and it's this child narcissistic view of the world. And it's so funny to me that something like Netflix, which is like so like woke overdrive, it seems like they're cleaning house over there because the woke garbage.
Then who are his friends though? Who does he make friends with though? That character,
the Black Widows, spiders.
Yes, insects.
Right,
insects that kill mammals and people and other spiders like himself.
Right,
it's crazy. Yeah,
right. But Charles Bronson should be in every movie if you want to be honest.
That's right.
So, hey, I said spoiler like 7 times. No one can get mad at me saying that. I said it mid-sentence over and over to tell you. So anyway, they have a great scene here where they face off. He's come down on the zip line to take the baby and all that. And Rutger Hauer's telling him what a magnanimous, world-transforming hero he is. And this is where we get that quote where someone posted it way long time ago, where I'm like a voice for the voiceless and I'm a savior. And Just again, true evil when you make yourself a god. I was telling someone the other day, everyone believes in God. Either you believe that there is a God or you believe that you are God. But in my mind, and I could be wrong, but in my mind, I don't think there's an in-between. I think you can just make yourself God. I think that's a lot of what we see in the world today. You know. So anyway, it's disgusting, and they have this. You know, Stallone just wants to rip his face off here.
Yep.
You know, he's just giving him the scowl. You're a scumbag. It's a great scene, and this guy just laughing about who he is and everything he's done, and he's so cocksure, and it's really great. He's really disgusting in this. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get their bus. They're going to get on the airplane. It's late at night. And Rutger Hauer and Shaka, that's her character's name, the other terrorist, they're in the crowd of people. And they play a police recording of the man she shot, the police chief she shot, the British guy, of him just bad-mouthing her, saying what a scumbag, evil person she is. And it, like, freaks her out. And again, it goes to what you were saying, Chuck, about the status. She doesn't like it being played over this loudspeaker in front of all the
Her
cops.
Self-concept is how they get her.
You are scum, lady. And she's like, ah, and comes out of the crowd. And then Lando just, he's a sniper.
Curry. Sorry, Reed Angela Curry.
Wait. This?
No, keep going.
Oh.
Oh, no, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry about that.
You know, hey, in the summer, there's more spiders, man.
Amen.
So, yeah. So anyway, so Billy D takes her out, sniper mode. And then Wolfgar jumps in the bus, and there's a little bit of a chase, and he drives the bus into the East River. This is great. What happens here? Let me see if what I got. Okay. Yeah, the bus flies into the river. And they search for the body. They can't find Wolfgar. Terrorists defeated? I don't think so. So and this is a great scene here. Do I have these out of order? Oh shoot, I have that out of order. Kind of spoiled that. Wolfgar.
I don't think anything will take away because that shock lasts about an hour.
Right. So Wolfgar, Stallone's like, I know what this guy's up to. And earlier the chief told him, well, I knew about your marriage. Don't you think Wolfgar's going to know everything about all of you terrorist police agents?
Yeah, go for the behind the shoulder one, the photo of this, just because it's so well set up.
Right. So Wolfgar has snuck into Stallone's estranged wife's house, and he's going to
followed
murder
her to the house.
Yeah, he's got in there, and he's sneaking up behind her in the kitchen and all this stuff. And when he pulls the knife, sorry I have these pictures out of order. He goes to pull the knife, and it was Stallone in a wig, just like that opening shot we had when he was on the decoy squad, where he was dressed up to catch the thugs.
Perfect bookend.
Right. So they planted the Chekhov's gun in the beginning, that this is a thing he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just for fun either. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has fun shooting him. I can tell you that, man. After all the crap,
he blasts him a few times. It goes into a nice slow-mo. He goes down the stairs. He goes through the door, and then he falls out onto the stoop.
And it ends.
And he's just dead. And Stallone sits down next to him, and literally the credits roll.
Yep.
So,
and
here we go.
Flick.
Blammo, you damn commie. Yuppie scum.
So, So that is Nighthawks, guys.
I feel like should have been a Boston accent for him, though, in this. Go back to fucking Starbucks. You know, like.
Oh.
Sorry, I try to keep it clean, Gabe. Every now and again.
Right.
You can't do a New England without it, man. That's right. No, Billy D's good.
Died. No, Billy D got slashed in the face, but it was just a flesh wound on his cheek.
He's good.
And he was the sniper that took out Shaka at the bus. She starts screaming right here, and he pops her right in the head with his sniper rifle. Didn't get a picture of that. Sorry. So Billy D was all good. So don't worry about him. So, Lando kept it real and survived.
That's right, he did. Yeah.
So Nighthawks, fantastic fun. It is grim and ugly. It doesn't really have any laughs in it, does it? I can't think of any really. You know.
They have their moments in it. It's a strange. It's an artifact from probably about 4 years earlier.
Right. Like
you know, and it was envisioned as a third movie in the French Connection. So that tells you the aesthetic it was rooted in, which was the aesthetic of the French Connection. They were going to get Gene Hackman back. He was like, I don't want to come back in this role. So they had this plan for it. And so, they changed it and they made this flick out of it. And I'll say this, is that the thing that was interesting to me about it is there's a couple of times where Rutger Hauer's character says to Stallone's character, "You and I, we're not so different." And this is an interesting thing about people who have that kind of narcissism. When they see somebody that they know is their better in terms of character, they can't resist, at least to themselves, saying this person is like me, or I'm like this person by default, right? They can't stand because they can't fathom this person who actually cares about stuff and doesn't want to, kill innocent people like Rutger Hauer does. It's ridiculous.
Right. Well, and the narcissist, they resent people who succeed. They resent people who are excellent. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've told you this saying before that I loved. Hall of Fame football player, multiple Super Bowl champion with different teams, Deion Sanders. He once said, "They don't boo nobodies."
Yes, that's true. I mean?
And you'll notice people like Walmart this and Starbucks that. And I'm not saying those places are perfect, but every problem you could find at a Starbucks, like their service, you could find it at a mom and pop coffee shop. You know what I mean? Like they don't boo nobodies when you're resentful. So that's why you want to go after someone of higher status and this and that, because they may or may not have done something wrong. But when you're a narcissist like Rutger Hauer, like Wolfgar in this, it's no one's allowed to be better than me. Don't they know who I am? It's that kind of thing, that true self-worshiping evil.
And the two most troubling things about narcissism, because the real Sean Crummell just wrote, "How do you break that person of that narcissism?" The two most troubling things I think I ever learned about narcissism was, one, narcissism, as far as all the studies they've done have shown, is almost entirely nurture. It's almost entirely how you were raised. Things like, social, I forget what it is. There's a particular thing, disconduct. I forget what the heck the thing, antisocial type behavior. Some of those things are genetic. But narcissism, true according to Hoyle, narcissism is largely nurture. And here's the other thing. It doesn't respond to therapy or any outside force. Once it's cooked into the person, because a person who is so self-obsessed can't believe there's something wrong with them. It's too great of a threat to their self-concept. So it's like they're being set on fire to be confronted about any fault.
Right.
It's not possible. For them, it's life or death to defend their self-concept.
Right.
And it's why it's such a poisonous thing to try to shove into kids' minds and anybody's minds at a young age, and all the way up. And we created, frankly, an environment where we tried to encourage narcissistic thinking, which is why you see so many confused people now in their 30s. Not everybody, and in their late 20s. Not everybody who are saying, "What do you mean that I owe my employer anything? What do you mean that I owe our customers anything?" See, to people in CG, that's insane to think of saying those things. Our attitude is we make the best work we can for our clients, for their customers, and for our customers and our backers, more importantly, the people who have invested in us. But it's a kind of belief that you are the hero of everyone's story. So at somebody's birthday party, it's all about you. At somebody else's wedding, it's all about you. Hell, at somebody's funeral, it's all about you.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
And I think, and we've bred this by being anti-man and anti-family, because when you're little, you need to be really, really passionately and consistently, and that's the hardest part of doing anything, loved and nurtured and cared for by your parents for free. You shouldn't have to earn your parents' love and validation. Once they validate you for free when you're little, you pass that hurdle. You pass that as a level of development, and then you don't seek it out as an adult. And we know so many people now, they virtue signal. Think of the SJW virtue signal. It's because they need external validation. They don't feel good about themselves because their fucking mom and dad couldn't just come to their volleyball game. Couldn't just say, "Hey, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, son," because their mom and dad are caught up in their own crap or divorced or whatever. So you got 2-3 generations of kids that they weren't loved correctly when they were little, and now they're narcissistic monsters.
I have to be honest. Sometimes I have a theory that their parents never missed a game, and that's the problem.
You're right. It could be
and I'm going to tell you, this is here's the thing that's great, because it's their downfall of why narcissism can't take over the world. It's and many of us, I know a narcissist, we'd like to help have that event. But the thing that's sort of funny about it is is that because narcissists are so self-obsessed, what they need from their children is someone to adore them, who they and acknowledge the fact that they never have to pay any consequences. They experience extreme emotional deprivation, and they have a tendency, they're more likely to raise a narcissist than ever to become one themselves. And most don't. That's why because if you think about it, if everyone who was exposed to a narcissist or any kind of awful person became one due to exposure, in 5 generations, pick any one of those things and we'd all be them, because it would spread out so virally. It would be exponential, right? One person harms this person now has to harm people, but that's not what most people do. Going back to Batman the Killing Joke and maybe even Batman the Dark Knight, just because you're screwed up and warped and you think that's how the world works, this right here, this person that you're staring into the face of right here, in the end, their life amounted to nothing. And it would have amounted to nothing no matter what, because it was just a battle for status, and the status and the fashions change.
All right.
You know what I mean? And it's, what is this person the king of? Nothing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You see that again with normal people that work and achieve. You'll see the SJW, the far leftist. You'll see this culture of resentment in them. How dare someone else have something I don't have? Because I'm the center of the world. Doesn't everyone know I'm king? I get everything. And that's, again, who this guy is. And we're seeing it again in our culture. And it was there in the 70s, in that counterculture, just resentment of father, resentment of everything that was ever done for you. You know, this movie it's surprisingly deep. You know, it is surprisingly deep, these characters, especially this villain. And a well-written villain is always thrilling, because I'm not exactly sure why, but it's always good to really see some evil and understand it and watch it get crushed. That's always great to see.
Yeah, and it's on, and the funny, interesting thing about it is the reason it gets crushed in all of these movies is because its entire lifestyle is targeted towards oblivion. It doesn't matter when it happens. It's like that's what the dance is with, you know?
Right. Yeah. So, are you hopeful? Because I think, how would I know the difference? Because I'm 43 now. I wasn't 43 in 1979. So I don't have a comparison. Mm-hmm. But it feels to me that this is late 70s all over again.
Yes.
Well, worse. But that's ethnocentric on my part, because, when I'm alive, that's the real story. That's the big one that matters more. It very well may have been much worse back then. I'd have nothing to compare it to. Are you hopeful that we're turning a corner? Because I am.
Yes.
I feel something in the air. I feel it. I see it. I think culturally people are fighting back, but in good ways. Not just lashing out savagely and making more trouble, but you know what? We're going to do the hard, consistent work to undo this garbage. I feel like that's happening all around us.
It happens, and this is, guys, this is the thing. And I've been listening to Eric July talk about this, been listening to a lot of people talk about this. We have to present alternatives, and we have to present alternatives that compete. And that is what Comicsgate is about. That is why we're bringing our best artwork to the table. We're bringing our best creators to the table. Gabe and I both have. That is Gabe and I. That was a recent photo.
That's right.
And the thing about it is that we both bring a lot of experience, whether it's in concept art and design or whatever it is, in comics for both of us. Gabe more extensively, to be sure. And we're bringing this work to the table. And the real grind of this stuff that we're doing is we're combating more than just with our stories and with all of that, which is important. But we're living in a world where somebody draws a pile of lima beans and says it's a beautiful figure. And we're saying, are you out of your mind?
Right.
No.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that has become radical. The idea that we say that that here's the thing about it. Men and women have to work together or the species stops. Period. We have to collaborate in the making of more people. We have to collaborate and encourage people to live. We have to teach people how to be effective in the world, because that will make them feel more empowered. They will also be more conscientious, and they will be more emotionally intelligent. And what's interesting to me is that you can people hunger for that so much. When I saw the way that people reacted to Jordan Peterson, it's no different than how they reacted to Joseph Campbell or C.S. Lewis. When you present people with an alternative to hell, shocker, they choose it.
Right. Absolutely. And it's why we're doing what we're doing with a happy face about it. Not being raging, not being out of control, having the time of our lives, guys.
Yes.
Nosfero the Crypt Walker. This is going to lift you up. It's not going to call you racist because you're white. It's not going to tell you you're a victim because you're gay or you're black. It's going to teach you about being a hero and show you that you too can be one. You can stand up to a failed marriage or a disease or bankruptcy or whatever dragon comes into your life. You're going to be fine. Just keep fighting. Look around you. Pray. Reach out to the people that love you around you, and you're going to make it. That's what our stories are about.
And this has a Chekhov's gun in it as well. Like, at the end of the story, Chekhov comes in with a gun and kills the villain. Spoiler alert. No, that doesn't happen. No. It has a plot setup that is very much like that, because I think that the audience is at the point. That's what Top Gun Maverick was. That's what all of these stories are.
Have you seen it?
Yes, and we will talk about it. I promise.
Yes. I saw it again. I took my son. I'll let you get back to Nosfero. I took my son, and my wife was out of town in Palm Springs with her sisters. So it was me and the boy for like 5 days.
Yeah.
We ate out every day. And just being dudes. We had a great time. My son's an adult now, and he still lives with me. But it's such a good thing to have him as like a friend now. And he didn't want to see Top Gun because he doesn't connect to it. He never saw the original. And I convinced him to see it after like 2 weeks. And he said afterwards, one of the best movies I've ever seen. I was getting choked up watching it. It's, so greatly emotional.
Yeah.
And he said, I had to keep reminding myself, this isn't real. This isn't real.
Yep.
Top Gun, to me, guys, and I think I have good taste in movies. I really do.
Yes.
I know that's snobby, but I think I do. Top Gun, to me, is easily a top 10, if not a top 5 all-time, for me personally, the new Top Gun Maverick. It's way better than the original. I love the original. It's such a good movie. I don't buy movie soundtracks, and I bought the movie soundtrack so I could feel like I'm still watching it while I'm sitting there drawing.
Outside of Star Wars, you do not see that many decades between sequels and get a blockbuster like this. It speaks volumes to the quality of the work. There you go.
Yeah.
Right on, First Watch Studios.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And it came out a month ago, and after a month, it's back on the top of the box office. So it isn't just me. It's not just me like, wow, this is a really like a great, like I would say Oscar worthy. Like this is a fantastic movie. And I think we might break a rule on this show and review a new movie. Because this
I feel like we should give them a little bit more time. Like we got to give like one more week, and the next week we have to say, get in on this movie. We're prepared to be spoiled. But I will tell you this though, and this is a big thing about Nosfero, and I was thinking about this while we were talking. Nosfero, if I were to summarize what this story is about, Nosfero is a badass Phantom meets Conan the Barbarian who stares with both his feet planted forthrightly, evil in the eye, and says, F off out of here. That's what it is. Get out of here or be destroyed. That is what it's about, period.
And I have an inkling that Nosfero doesn't want them to get out. He wants to destroy them.
Oh, no, he wants them
he would rather they not
leave. He wants to set them free, but not the way they're thinking.
Right. Yeah. He would rather they didn't run away, and he just took their head off their shoulders for them.
That's right.
So, look at just the evil there. And he's going to crush it. And that is a message that is timeless for human beings. Because, guys, evil is terrifying. It terrifies all of us. True evil, disease, destruction, bankruptcy, broken marriages. It's terrifying for everyone. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And
you have to be able to stand up to it. You have to turn inwards on your culture, your religion, your family, your community. You have to be able to say, I'm not going to cower. I'm going to face this. And hey, you might end up bloody and bruised and all that, but you have to face it. You don't face it, it's just going to get bigger and worse, right?
Yeah, and
And that's what I want these stories to do.
I love the pulps. I love the Phantom. And I love Frank Frazetta, huge influence. But I have to tell you guys this. When I look at what people do with it, what made those books great is it was coming from a core creator who was making this thing happen. And I don't see the pulp character I want to see. He doesn't have all the qualities I want to see. And I want it to bring in universal horror and Lovecraft, but I want it to be a character for today. That is what Nosferatu is. And with all the coolness we know, we've seen Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean in terms of ILM special effects.
Right.
We've seen visions that are incredible, and our art and our comics have to be caught up with that. They have to be things that live up to that visually.
It's just funny you say that, because Fantomas, is that how you say this dog monster's name?
Mm-hmm.
Fantomas, every time you illustrate him, it's masterful. He's such a great visual discovery.
I love this character.
Black and the gray, the blue fire inside of him, the little skull logo. There's this one right here. I gotta try and blow this up on my computer.
Yep.
Hold on. Where did I hit? Oh, there it is.
You're almost there. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. That's let me drag it to the desktop and see if I can blow it up by opening it in the preview thing. I'll open it here. I love this image. Is this going out as like a postcard or?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that one as a postcard or a print. I've got all sorts of. That's why I dropped the black on the background.
It's so good.
He's influenced by a couple of things. First of all, pit bulls and cane corsos. But the other thing I always think about when I'm drawing him is the stop motion animation of I think they were called the terror dogs in Ghostbusters. Do you remember those?
Right.
And those beautiful designs. I love that. Yeah, hail, fridge magnet indeed. Absolutely. It's Hound of the Baskervilles. It's it's the demon dog, but it's also in a lot of ways, it's Nosferatu when he travels. He is going through the Netherworld. So he is going through this incredibly dangerous place every time he travels because he has the power to kind of cut through it. And that's what's so much fun. Hey, Sean, how much dialogue is in Nosferatu? Don't ruin that beautiful art with too many word balloons. The whole thing is going to be in 36-point papyrus. It's going to go across the entire artwork with the occasional Comic Sans. It's so funny, Cranberry Langers, I will tell you this. One of the things that people said to me when they first saw the character is they go, "Oh my gosh, like Lockjaw." And I thought, first of all, Jack Kirby, Lockjaw, genius, brilliant creativity and work, period. And I believe it or not, I hadn't thought of it. And I think the thing that I was this is the thing I've been thinking about as I work on this whole book. If I'm doing my job, not every aspect, but most aspect of this should be able to be linked, even though I'm not trying to consciously do it, to a predecessor in our art form, the pulp art form, the comic art form. And when I heard that, I said, that's right. There are teleporting dogs. There are animals that can take you from one place to another. But in comics, in this uniquely American art form with one of our great heroes, Jack Kirby, you have that. And I went, yes. It's not, he's not an inhuman, and it's kind of much more of a, he's going through sort of the bowels of hell and the ether to get from place to place.
Right.
I guess I was thinking of the telling, Tim Burton telling of Sleepy Hollow a little bit, where he kind of the horse comes out of the realm of the dead kind of thing. But you're absolutely right. I mean, we have an incredible history, and it's time we claim some of these archetypes back. And if I can do that, then, that's a thrill for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I love this dog. I think he's iconic to me.
One more quick thing I have to say though. I'll be damned if I draw horses too. That was the other. So go ahead. Sorry, Gabe.
No, it's just I think whenever you find something, there's this visual vocabulary. And different things appeal to different people. Good work appeals to everyone, but for some reason, your background, your personality, your experiences, certain things appeal to you. Now, me being I'm a big, tall, strong guy. I love weightlifting. I love force and power and violence. So I always identify with. I called him Rockman when I was little because I didn't buy comic books. I just knew about them. The Thing, Ben Grimm.
Yes.
I always identified with Thing and Hulk and those big characters because it reminded me of myself. So when I see someone like Fantomas, I'm like, oh, cool, a big bruiser. I love the big bruisers. You know, so
Yeah.
I love those kind of guys. Absolutely wild. But yes, guys, you need to check out Nosfero. And I would say this: the artwork is so beautiful. When you do Nosfero 2, what you need to do is have another book you offer that's Nosfero 1 with no word balloons, just like an artist edition.
I think that might be my second one, and this is my facsimile copy of Hound of the Baskervilles. Love it.
Wow.
That's the big influence for it. Love it.
Okay, yeah, that's a great story. I found Sherlock Holmes about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I bought the entire Sherlock Holmes, like all 50 stories or whatever. Listened to them all like in 3 weeks. I adore Sherlock Holmes. Oh my gosh, that's good stuff.
Sherlock Holmes is the best, man.
A full-size Nosfero artist edition offered as an extra with Nosfero 2.
It's happening, folks. We will do it.
Right.
We've got worlds we're going to in this book, guys. And
right. And make sure you're subscribed to Sean's channel because he paints these live on the air.
Yeah, this head sketch.
Dump the link in, please.
Yeah, this head sketch is for one of my backers, who is a really big supporter, Lloyd Burton. He wanted his head sketch to be Bride of Frankenstein, and so I decided to push the envelope with it. You know, just try to come up with something to be a great painting, because these head sketches that people back are going to end up in future art books. So, I mean, I treat them, they're not sketches, really. This one's not even done, by the way. But these are paintings. When somebody backed at that tier, and all of those are gone, of course, but the 10 people who backed at that tier are going to get Sean Fangetti original paintings, full tilt. And that's the joy of it. And that's what Gabe and I are about, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I recorded myself today working on this. I made a video recording
of
doing the Zipatone and cutting it with a razor blade. I'll make a video and show it to you guys. But yeah, this is page 6 of Beef Law, where he's just won this illegal tournament down by the docks. You see those like semi-truck shipping containers?
I love it.
Skyline. There's his trainer said, "Uh-oh, you got the nice butt grab," because we embrace the beauty of
ladies. We embrace ladies.
You know? Well, his girlfriend Nina, she's really happy that he won because he was getting his butt kicked earlier in the fight. So yeah. So but I recorded myself doing the Zipatone because I think some of you out there would be curious about it. Did you have something else you were going to hold up? I thought I saw you motion.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Goodness. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So definitely check out Nosfero.
Right on.
So we touched on that. We touched on the narcissism of what we want our books to do for people. Yes. But let me ask you, other than the obvious, why is this important for you to do with your art? Why not just make a buck and make whatever? Like, get down to the nitty gritty on that. Because I know my reasons why I famously humiliated DC Comics. It's hard to believe I could humiliate them harder than they humiliate themselves. Why I humiliated them and walked away from Superman and all the garbage. I know my reasons. I've stated them. I'll state them again. Why is it important to you to make something beautiful with your art? To uplift people?
I think it's really simple, because that is what helped me to keep going. And I think it helps people. People deserve to be inspired. I think your audience deserves to be inspired and deserves to be thrilled with life. It helps people. And helping people at the end of the day, when you see all these heroes we keep pointing out, they're helping people, and they're saying to people, when things get tough, there are stories you can turn to, and there are people you can turn to who are heroes. And if you believe in those heroes when you're in the clutches of a villain, if you believe in optimism when you're in the clutches of nihilism, then you can make it through. And you're right to believe it. You're right to believe it, because there is more good out there than evil. The evil exists, but it's not going to win. And that books have to say to people, you need to hear it. Everyone needs to hear it. I need to hear it.
That's beautifully said, my friend. I want to address this real quick from not always with the great comments.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. All of you.
Thank you, guys.
Hit the like, share the link. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed to Sean's channel too. He does a great tomorrow night, Thursday night horror show. You do horror movies with Von Kloss.
That's right.
In the Trenches. Check that show out. What do you call that show?
Horror at the Waffle Lodge.
Okay.
Make sure you get that HORROR in there. It's not that other kind of party.
Don't look that up. Don't look up.
Don't know what movie we're even doing yet. I'm going to text him after this, but we'll be talking about something.
Henry
Yes.
Bemis is the SJW art is uninspired. Look at Pixar, the royalty of royalty. They were every year winning the Oscar Best Animated Film. Look at their Buzz Lightyear movie because they followed an unheroic, unsympathetic SJW plotline. I'm not going to go into Buzz Lightyear, but it sucks and it failed. And Pixar's the best of the best. But now the SJW takeover is giving them nihilistic, negative, narcissistic. That's a lot of N's, by the way. Thank you.
They used character assassination of the creative force that studio was built upon and had him frog marched out of the house he built.
Right.
And they thought to themselves, because this is the weird belief, and this happens with all sort of Marxist ideological ideas, is that whether it's in the Ukraine and somebody's saying, oh, we can farm just back in the days of the taking over of the farms, or I should say the collectivizing of the farms. What do these farmers know about farming? We can all farm. What do these animators know about, what does this great film producer know about film production?
Right.
If we were in his spot, we'd be successful too.
Well, let's jump back to this guy, the theme of tonight.
There it
this
is.
Bastard right here, Wolfgar, the spoiled child of Western success, doesn't work, doesn't contribute anything, and says he's the golden God savior, the voice of the voices. Nobody asked you, dude, you asshole.
Yep.
But that's who the same people that marched Lasseter out of Pixar. What, like you said, Sean, what does Lasseter know? What do all these people know that like built it?
What does Mufasa really know, says Scar. And then you come back a couple years later to Pride Rock, and it turns out it wasn't the rock and it wasn't the location of the house.
Right.
It was the person who made it work.
Vertigo Comics was the tip top of comics if you wanted the finest written, most prestigious, multiple Eisner winning. Everyone knows that for almost 2 decades, Vertigo was like where you go to be prestigious. SJW extraordinaire, Andy Curry, he's the OG SJW editor at DC Comics. They fired him when they did COVID layoffs. They should have fired him for something else a few years earlier than that. We'll talk about it one day. Hi, Andy. Hi, Jim Lee. We'll talk about it one day. They should have fired him for something else. He ruined Vertigo single-handedly. Yep. He had the Zoe Quinn from Gamergate. He let her write a book that sold, 4 copies. Some book that said white people are trash, like called Border Town. Some book about witches saying men are trash. I forgot what it was called. And it was just all SJW garbage. All the books got canceled right away. And the Vertigo label was destroyed. So again, like Wolfgar in this movie, like the people that got rid of Lasseter at Pixar, these SJWs, they're narcissists. They think they deserve to be at the top, but they never work for it or suffer for it because a narcissist, they don't do discomfort. And these people are worms eating our culture from the inside. You know what I mean? And the way we stop them is like Eric July, like Sean said, we make better art, better than them. We compete and we beat them at this game. We make music that sounds better, acting that's better, comics, novels, all of it, because entertainment matters. Art is not frivolous. And if you're conservative and Christian and all that out there, and you did what a lot of our people did the last 50 years, you did something terrible. You walked away from movies and music and said, that's devil music and filth on TV. But your answer to it wasn't to make your own. It was to not participate and just give it to Marxists. That's one of the stupidest things conservative patriotic people ever did is to say, well, that's filthy. I won't be part of it. It's like, what? Yeah. We could have went 2 ways in Hollywood. We could have went with It's a Wonderful Life and kept going down that road, Frank Capra's vision of America, or we could have went what ended up as Archie Bunker, Married with Children, and now what you have now. And we went the wrong way because we, conservative people, I won't say Republican, we walked away from art, and that was foolish. That was stupid.
Yeah, do not let people who despise you dictate your worth. It's the simplest thing in the world to remember.
Right.
We here do not despise your optimism. When we hear we cherish it. When Nana is like my youngest just gave me, I hope I'm correct on the number, it might be 4th, but I think was it 3rd grandson. And correct me in the chat because I want to know if I'm wrong. Was it your 3rd grandson that your youngest daughter gave you recently? We celebrate that. We celebrate that with you. We're happy about how that's for every new thing that happens in people's lives. That is not how they feel. They have this sneer of what's the point of like they can't celebrate other people's accomplishment. Your award was taken from them. Your excellence is a product of a system that is wrong. Why? The only system that's correct is the one they win in.
Right.
And it just makes me sick to see it. And in my stories, these characters rise to the worthiness. Second, I have a few boys in my life, 2 sons, 2 grandsons, and I have 9. About to have 9
Dude
daughters.
has 9 daughters.
There you go. Wow.
Bro, you got to start playing with the helmet. You know what I'm saying?
Second, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my
there
goodness.
it is.
Yeah, but I think it's an apt comparison. Lion King, Wolfgar here, SJW is coming into our media. They were, like Sean said, that award you won, you didn't win it. You took it from them.
Yes.
It's like a little child. But we think it's a little harmless child. It's not. It results in terror and destruction and mostly peaceful protests, as we saw. You know?
But here's the thing. They want to remake the world in their image, but they refuse to start with taking a hard look in the mirror at what their image is. And when you have to do that every morning when you wake up and you go to your table, like I was telling my wife, I work at the desk probably for about 12 hours with exceptions for break to get some food and stuff. But that's it. I'm at the desk for 12 hours working on this stuff. I just handed in my visions piece for Malin's book to Von Klaus. And then I'm moving on to my next one. I'm working on commissions, Pages of Nosfero, all of this stuff. CG is where it's at. Nosfero is where it's at. When you guys move that book forward, there's 2 things I always think about. Is it possible for me to provide reasonably for my family pursuing this? That is my only bar it's ever been. But if just 500 or 600 copies of this book exist, then the garbage that's being put out there by major corporations who take so much more money to make that garbage have to sit in a world with excellent books by CG creators. And that's what motivates and inspires me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're totally right about that. It is the motivating. No, says the 80s were full of Puritans. It made it easy to laugh at them. He's talking about on the conservative side.
Yes.
And those that took themselves too seriously kept at it, but don't forget Tipper Gore and many other guys part of it too. That's true. That's a fair thing to say.
Yep.
That is definitely a fair thing to say. I would like to say that I'm not about that. I'm about excellence. I'm about making stuff that's great. And that's why David Williams and we have this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you think about what they took from you, this is the SJW. Look at that look in his eyes. You can see it. How dare you make truth, justice, American way? How dare you make people happy? How dare you be charming and you can improv and speak with your good buddy Sean here and be entertaining? You notice there aren't like comic book SJW pros on YouTube speaking for hours.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Too much of a mirror.
Right. Oh, yeah. If you're a narcissist, you can't do this. You can't joke with people and like people because you only like yourself. It makes me laugh. They can't do this at all. That's sad for them, I guess, because this is fun. But definitely, Truth, Justice, American Way. I will have new pages very soon. Finally, guys. David Williams, I told you guys, his family had a horrible medical tragedy thing going on, and they're getting through it now. I've got good news recently from him, and he's back at the drawing table for this book. So I will begin showing pencils and inks and colors for that again. And many of you out there that haven't bought it, you're going to buy it when you see that because you're going to be, oh, they're not playing. We're not playing. Me and David and Gary, we're straight up killers. We have 90-something years of experience between the 3 of us. So I know you've only seen a little bit, but real life tragedy got in the way of David. And I don't hold that against him one iota. And I don't think anybody with any heart would. If you knew about it, if you knew what happened, you would be like, oh my God, it's devastating. So.
Yeah, and David's, he's fast and good. Like that guy, like if you've watched David draw on any of these draw streams, I was on a drawing stream with him and Ethan. I mean, he turns the paper, sometimes you see him working like he's working on a potter's wheel.
Right.
And then flipping this thing over and back and doing it. And what happens is magic. And Gary is the exact same way. Yeah. These are people I'm honored to stand side by side with, and I would not know them if it wasn't for my brother Gabe. And I thank you guys.
I wonder if I should show something I've never shown anyone.
I'm always for it.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I've never shown anyone this bit of where is it? This little bit of Truth, Justice, American Way art. Should I show this at all?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell. Oh,
I don't think
I'm gonna
David's
drag.
watching.
I'm just gonna drag something over and have it peek on the screen, and then I'm gonna take it away. No one has seen this at all. No one has seen these. I'm not gonna say what that is. That was it. That was it. I'm not supposed to show that.
That's right.
But peek for you there. Gone. That's some concept art from David.
Screen cap it.
Huh?
I said screen cap it, people.
No. No, how dare you? But yeah. There's just a little bit of fun stuff going on here with some stuff. I'm being very cagey about it. I did show this about a month or two ago. Hold on. I did show this one. I am very proud of this. I invented this villain. I won't say much about her, but she's everything that's wrong.
I love it.
And her name is Girl Boss.
That's right.
And, I'm extremely proud of that. Hold on. Let me show you guys a little. She's everything that's wrong with our culture. I think she's more plastic than woman. This is one of our could-be villains. But yeah, there's a lot more of Truth, Justice, American Way coming. Link is in the description. Go get that book today, guys. It's
going to be awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Yes, it's Girl Boss. Absolutely. Come on. That's hilarious, Girl Boss. That's a great name. So can't wait for Girl Boss to take us. Oh my gosh, guys. This is such a fun story. So goodness. I'm so glad we're back on it full time, me and Dave.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Yeah,
it's inspiration.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't be too upset, the news with Dave and his wife and all that, it's trending in the good way. So praise God. It's the things he's told me. It's not my family, so I don't want to be detailed.
Angela Curry's got it in the chat too, by the way. Yeah, totally right.
Oh, Alex Schoenbach. I like what you're thinking here, friend. There you go. Yeah. So last chance for the 2-hour mark. I don't know what that means.
Oh, we're about to hit 2 hours on this stream.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
That's how you guys know. Listen, I got to say this too. You know, the chat, we talk about books, philosophy, history, animation, art, film, comics, inspiration. We cover everything. And hail, Jado. Good to see you, my friend. And it's so it's so cool when you see this. There you go. I mean, here you go. Yeah.
Yeah, he sent this message 3 times. I'm sorry I didn't read it. That's why I threw it on the screen. Bruce Malmuth directed Nighthawks. He had a small career but profound. He wrote The Karate Kid, directed Lean on Me, and Hard to Kill, my favorite Seagal movie. Our boy slaps.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right on.
Sorry, I had to put that up because it's the 3rd time he sent that message, and I keep meaning to throw it up. What were you saying? I interrupted you. That was rude.
No. I just was saying that the level of this is why I think so many of us tune in. Oh, thank you so much, Scottsy. I appreciate that. I think this is why so many of us tune into these streams and why it's such a pleasure for us to promote our books and put ourselves out there in this way and have these conversations, because it is an antidote, to quote Jordan Peterson, to the chaos of so much of what's out there. You realize, wow, there's a lot of people out there who are reading interesting books, who love pop culture, who love to laugh, who love to celebrate good news for each other. And it's not just a vicious world of backbiting, resentful crabs in a bucket. It's not. And don't let anyone tell you that, because their goal is to demoralize you. Our goal is to inspire you and bring beauty and art into your world. That's it. It's a simple job. Right.
Yeah. And it is like a dream come true. I showed you guys earlier the trading cards. I showed you about the Gemini mailers, a 5-foot tall pallet. I got the quote on the T-shirts. Remember the gorgeous Truth, Justice, American Way T-shirts? I'm going to get those printed up soon. I think within the next month, I'm going to have the T-shirts done. So things are moving, guys. Things are moving. And we're really just so excited to be doing this. Like, oh, it's actually happening. We came up with the concept. We made the preview art. They gave us money. And now we're making the stuff. It's just really, really exciting.
Right on.
So, yeah, let's see. This is why if I bring Captain Courage back, it'll be CG. Who's Captain Courage? It must be a public domain character. I have to look that up.
Right on.
Is Girl Bust a strong woman / man? You're gonna have to buy the book and read it to see.
To buy the book.
So absolutely, yeah. Let's see. We're here to entertain. Oh, the crowd does entertain us. Absolutely.
Yeah, and hail Marcus.
Double Impact next week. Stripes for July 4th. We haven't decided on a movie for next week, but we definitely got to do something patriotic.
Yeah, we do. I also think we should do. Yeah, we're gonna brainstorm on that. So stay tuned because I want to do something definitely very centered on Truth, Justice, American Way. I want to see. I know it's a holiday. I know a lot of people are going to be busy, but I'm thinking, maybe later that evening or whatever works. We got to do a Truth, Justice, American Way something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a big announcement or something or to push it because it's you guys' book. So talk to the Truth, Justice, American Way. Talk to the trio you work with of heroes.
Right.
And the Gabe, Gary, and David trio there. And you guys have
we like to go by triumvirate.
The triumvirate of the boys, the Truth, Justice, American Way triumvirate, and we got to make sure that we can do that. Yeah, boost the signal. We are in Alex. We already did Red Dawn, which was a great idea. You've got Independence Day, Cranberry Langer saying, but I really think we're going to come up with something great. But either way, I want to do something that is Truth, Justice, American Way. Right. And talking about what this great thing we're making here is.
Well, guys, I'm this way all year. Let me show you something real quick. This is not an act like the Truth, Justice, and the patriotism. That's not an act with me. That's not to make money or whatever like that. I mean, it is to make money, of course, but I do mean it. Father's Day, this is the Burbank Air Museum. That's where my family took me because they know that's the kind of stuff. That's a B-17 bomber from World War II. They had all kinds of amazing aircraft from World War II and all that there. And then yesterday, I am so inspired by like Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick, one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, that I took my wife, who was out of town for 5 days. She got home at lunch. I quit work early to take her out, and we went down and ate at this Mexican restaurant on the water. And right behind us is North Island, the base where Top Gun Maverick, a lot of it takes place there at that base. You know what I mean? That's just 15 minutes from my house. You know what I mean? But I like the Navy and patriotism. It means so much to me. San Diego's a Navy town. You can't throw a rock and not hit a Navy guy around here. My stepfather's a Navy man. My grandpa Rocky, he's not really my grandpa. He just passed away last week. He was a Navy man.
I didn't know that.
In the 40s. The old man I showed the video on here once of him talking about how he didn't like SJWs and he hated what DC did to Superman. Remember that video I made?
Yeah.
He was 91. It was sad. He passed away, but he was in kind of hospice care or whatever. Grandpa Rocky was a great dude, one of those salty guys. Yeah. And but I love my town. I love my Navy. I love my military. I love my culture and my country so damn much. And there's no fucking way I was gonna do what DC wanted me to do. I was on a walk today with my wife. We always take a walk at lunch. We both work at home, so we take a walk to get some sun and get some exercise. And we ran into a construction worker like 3 blocks from our house, and he had been to my house because I'm gonna have construction in my backyard. But he consulted with my wife when I was gone about some stuff we're doing. And he just stopped me and he wanted to tell me what I did, because I guess she told him what I do and how I left DC Comics over their anti-patriotic Superman crap. And he just thanked me. He told me the world needs more people like you and it's heroic. And so many people have told me that since I did this in October. And it feels weird to me because I just feel like I'm me. But I'm happy to be that for people. Whether I believe it or not, I'm so happy that it inspires people because, dude, there are so many more of us than them.
There are.
We stand up, they just cower. These absolute monster boys. That's all we have to do. So if I can be the first one to stand up, fine, I'll do it. I don't care.
Right.
You guys know me by now. I don't give a shit. I'll say whatever about Jim Lee, DC Comics. I don't care. I'm not afraid of any of these people. So whatever. And if I can inspire you to stand up, then please do. Please do.
Yeah, it's these things that we're doing, both big and small, that continue to inspire people. And you really don't need much to keep going. You really don't. You don't need much to be inspired either. If you're capable of being inspired, you'll find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do we go from here, Sean?
We go to a big celebration next week of Truth, Justice, American Way. We're going to pick a movie. We'll announce it at some point during this week, and it's going to be a patriotic and awesome celebration of what we love about comics, what we love about heroism, and we hope all of you guys will be there because the stuff we're doing here is important for us. It's our oxygen, you know, and it's I thank you guys for being here, truly.
Yeah,
really do.
Really do. And I think we'll close it here. It was a very dense show. You know, it's a little shorter. We usually go a little longer, but we covered so much tonight. Yeah, but I just want to close by saying that I thought what you said, Sean, about why we do this, why it's important. I could have just stayed at Warner Brothers as a minority. Yeah. And if I just said the SJW words, whether I believe it or not, I would have just kept going up and could have made myself millions of dollars if I was a bastard with no character. But what you said about why this stuff is so important to make is because it gives people life. It gives people energy and inspiration. You know what I mean? It's like a safety valve. You know what I mean? It like replenishes people to be inspired when terror is coming at them. I think that's a beautiful thing about what we're doing here and what this crowd, these amazing fans that buy our books, what they do, they let us do this. I think that is so great. So Nighthawks, amazing. I loved it. I'm so happy you liked it, Sean. Absolutely. I'm really glad our buddy Teflon Ron, one of our mods, he's the one that suggested it for me last week. We'll pick something real patriotic for next time. I was thinking Rocky IV, but is that enough? I don't know. I want more patriotic. I want more.
We're going to find something great.
Yeah, we're going to find something. But anyway, we love you guys. Buy Now Sparrow. Get on there. The link's in the description. Go buy Truth, Justice, American Way. We need your help. You know, we'll help. We'll do our part by making the books and make them to the best of our abilities. I swear we'll do our best on them. The way you guys help is you buy the books. It takes money to make this stuff. And we lost our culture by giving art to these Marxists. We win it back by making our own that's even better. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.